It's exciting to get going. I guess it's the big passage of this season of sailing, and it's going to be a challenge to deal with the changing weather as we get up there.
We are Amy and Matt. This year we are sailing our 40-year-old 37-foot sailboat from the south coast of the UK all the way north to the Arctic. This will be like nothing we have ever experienced before.
We're hoping to see polar bears and walrus and sail in the icy waters of Svalbard. We'll sail past the northernmost town in the world as we venture into the high Arctic. It's unlikely to be easy, but it's certainly going to be an adventure. See you in Svalbard!
See you in Svalbard!
The time has come to set out across the Barents Sea to the icy lands of Svalbard in the high Arctic. This is a voyage that we started thinking about 5 years ago, whilst in lockdown in the sweltering temperatures of equatorial Indonesia. We travelled to find different places, and the icy landscape of Svalbard is certainly going to be a different experience to that of our tropical voyage around the world.
Okay.
That's us full of fuel, so we have used 62 litres since we arrived into Norway, which is probably more than normal for us, but for heating and also running the engine, that's not too bad. And we are now full and ready for Svalbard. Ready?
Yep. Okay, done with engine?
Yeah.
Better. That's of course their beam reach at the moment.
Okay.
So here we are on our way to Svalbard. We've been staring at the weather forecast for the last couple of weeks, in fact all the time we've been in Norway, and there has never looked like there is a simple weather pattern to get from here, Tromsø, all the way up to Svalbard. It looked a few days ago that it was a good opportunity to go now, but in the last 24 hours the forecast has changed again. So at the moment we're setting off and the first couple of days look good, but now it looks like we're going to run out of wind. But that forecast just keeps changing every day. Talking to the other people on the dock, they're all watching the same thing, and a lot of people have come to the same conclusion that this is a good time to go, make the best of it to get offshore halfway across, and then we just have to keep our fingers crossed that it changes again and we actually get some wind, and if it doesn't, we might be using a lot of diesel. So we filled the tank with diesel, and yeah, we're going to work our way out through the channels out towards the open sea. We're timing our point at which we get to the open sea for when we do wind shift round to the northeast, and then we should be close hauled on starboard tack out into the Barents Sea. But yeah, it's exciting to get going. I guess it's the big passage of this season of sailing, and it's going to be a challenge to deal with the changing weather as we get up there.
It's supposed to actually be quite windy offshore at the moment. It's forecast to be about 30 knots, and we are currently protected by quite a few islands. So we've got about 50 miles to sail through some channels before we reach the open sea, and we're hoping that by the time we get to the open sea, the sea state should have reduced quite considerably. So it's about 550 miles to Svalbard, to Longyearbyen, the main town on Svalbard, which, if we have good wind, should take us about 4 days. If we don't have such good wind, might take us about 5. It feels great to have set off and to be on our way. It's always that difficult anticipation before we leave for a passage. But yeah, we're fully stocked, feel fully prepared and ready to go.
It wasn't long before that strong wind made its presence felt, and all Florence needed was a staysail to make rapid progress through the narrow channels. As we neared the exit to the open sea, we pulled in to anchor and wait for the forecasted wind shift in our favour.
We're now about 10 miles from open sea, but we came in here to take some shelter from the rest of that big wind that was blowing through. And now what's hopefully happening is the swell has had a little bit of time to die down. The wind is now switching to a more favourable direction, and we can set out across to Svalbard. But the trouble is, we can't wait too long, because if we wait too long, then the next big wind comes through. So it's a really fine balancing act on this passage. We're hoping we've got it right, and yeah, now time to set off.
Well, here we go, we are on our way. Welcome to life on the lean, heading close hauled-ish on starboard tack. The breeze has picked up and we're into the waves as we come out from the smooth channels between the islands. It's not too bad, it's actually really nice sailing out here. We got 11 knots of wind, one reef in the main, full genoa. And we're not the only ones out here, we've got company out here. 8 miles down to our port side. 2 other boats which were in Tromsø with us. There's Spiky, a German boat, and Lapwing, another British boat. Both similar sized boats to Florence. We came out of a different channel between the islands to them. That's why we're a little bit further to the east, 8 miles further to the east. But we're all proceeding about the same speed, similar course, and it's always reassuring when someone else chooses the same time to leave for a weather window as you. Doesn't mean you've got it right, just means that if you haven't got it right, someone else has got it wrong as well. But yeah, it's nice to have some company out here, and so far so good. Hopefully we'll stay ahead of the really strong breeze, which should come between us and the coast behind tomorrow. And then who knows what happens in the latter half of this voyage, because the models are all over the place and looks like very light winds once we get over halfway. But yeah, great to be out here. Seems strange to be starting to go into our night watches. Amy's starting to cook dinner, starting to go into our night watches when it is still completely and utterly daylight. In fact, I might have to go and get my sunglasses in a minute. And we are definitely going to be experiencing the midnight sun on this passage.
I knew the sea state might not have calmed down before we set off, so I did all that I could to chop the veg and prepare food before the boat started to get thrown around. Because of the high food costs in Norway, we're mostly eating long life food, which we carried on board from the UK, and supplementing it with fresh veg when we can. Adding garlic mushrooms and extra gravy to a tin of beef stew and some whole grain mustard to the instant mashed potato just gives the long life food a bit more flavour.
Thank you very much. At midnight, the sun is still really high in the sky. It's unfortunately so high that it's actually behind some clouds this evening, but we're going to get plenty of opportunities on this passage, so hopefully tomorrow there's a bit less cloud and we'll be able to see the midnight sun. That will be the first time that we've actually physically seen the sun at midnight, because all of the time that we've been in the Arctic Circle, it's either been behind an island or cloud, or we've generally been asleep. I'm really looking forward to getting into a warm, cosy bunk.
Cool. Your turn below. As forecast, the breeze is dropping off, so it's time to shake out our reef.
Putting in or shaking out a reef in the mainsail when sailing upwind like this is easier than when sailing downwind, because this time we are already pointed into the wind. All we have to do is set the autopilot on wind vane mode so it steers close to the wind, drop the main down the traveller and ease the sheet a little, then we can reef or unreef as we continue sailing upwind on the headsail.
Life on watch at sea is a simple case of keeping a lookout and then making the sails bigger or smaller as the wind dictates, whilst the autopilot keeps Florence on course.
Well, here we are, the evening of day 2, and the wind has disappeared. I was not expecting this when we were planning sailing up here to Svalbard, crossing the Barents Sea. I had nightmares about it, really, but I guess it shows that if you wait long enough, you get the right weather window. Unfortunately, I think the wind's going to die off to the point where we have nothing for a bit tonight. Not that you know it's night, because of course the sun doesn't set. It's still up there way above the clouds. But yeah, it's going really calm. Luckily the sea state's eased off as well, so we're just drifting along, sailing at about 3 knots of boat speed in 5 or 6 knots of wind speed, which is very good going. Because the seas are so calm, it's not slapping or flopping all the wind out the sails. Yeah, so it's going to be a really calm one tonight. Amy's just making some dinner. Today has been, just getting calmer and calmer as we go along. There's a bit of debris in the water, just spotted a pallet as we went past. Had a couple of whales surface near the boat. Of course, as soon as you grab the camera, they disappear again, but they are around. One surfaced just a boat length away from the boat, blue, which frightened the life out of me. I turned around just to see the back of it as it went down. So hopefully we'll see a few more whales as we head up this way. But yeah, it's really, really calm. have a calm night, too calm, and then hopefully the breeze should pick up and we'll get going again tomorrow. But yeah, it's pretty chilly. I am sailing in my slippers though, it's that calm. It's about 8 degrees on deck. But yeah, very calm sail today. The breeze is back and with it is the wind chill. It is pretty chilly on board. It's about 8 degrees in the shelter of the spray hood or down below, but once you get your head out in above the spray hood into the wind, it is really cold. We're not the only ones out here though. We're just passing a fleet of Russian fishing boats. Well, more fishing ships I should say. They are massive. It's a really calm day out here today. We're getting bounced around a bit because we're a little boat, but those big ships, they must be out here in all weathers. Loads of birds circling around as well, loads of seagulls on full Mars, coming really close to Florence, almost like they think we're another bird just with our wings held up vertical, making some pretty close passes along the forestay. Hiding under the spray hood because we got a bit of a rain cloud up to windward and started raining, and then I realised it wasn't really rain, it was snow, small bits of snow, kind of sleety snow. So we're definitely getting a long way north now. It's pretty chilly. I've got my gloves on and yeah, you don't want to be popping your head out into the wind and rain if you don't have to, wind and snow if you don't have to. Beautiful though. Wow. Okay, that was a big wave, just hit the spray hood. I would still say it's a calm day out here for going upwind, but yeah, there's the odd wave. Oh, that was a bigger wave. That last snow squall went through and the breeze has just dropped right off, so we were down to staysail and 2 reefs in the main, now we're back up to Genoa. Still left the 2 reefs in the main because looking up to windward there's another snow squall on the horizon. I don't know how much wind that's going to bring. Hopefully some, because we need it to get to Svalbard. I think tomorrow the wind's going to die off completely, so we need to use everything we can get to get a bit closer first. Might be straight back down from Genoa to staysail with the 2 reefs in the main again. Here it comes. Hello. Start my watch. That is actually a bit calmer out here than it was when I went to bed. Looking lovely. Question is though, which watch is it? Morning, afternoon, night? I'll give you a hint. There's the sun. It's not really much of a help, is it? It's actually 1 o'clock in the morning. But you wouldn't know it. It could be 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And it really is starting to screw with my head a little bit. It's one thing when you've got this 24-hour daylight and you're doing normal stuff in an anchorage or on a dock, going hiking or something during the day, and then nighttime where you just look at the clock and that is nighttime, so you go to bed.
It's another thing when your brain is already slightly fried by the fact you're doing watches 24 hours a day, and it's a little bit confusing when you're at sea because you've got no other inputs. We don't have Starlink, so we don't have any other connection to the outside world. The only thing that tells us the time is my watch, because my phone is off because it has no signal. So my brain is really fried. I actually have to look at my watch to check what time of day it was, not just whether it would start on my watch or not. But yeah, looks like we're making good progress. Amy's been doing a good job over whilst I've been down below sleeping. Sea state's calmed down a bit. Hopefully make some progress towards Svalbard, and then later on today, the last forecast I saw, the wind was due to drop off. So when the forecast updates in the morning, in a few hours time, I'll download the latest weather model update, and we'll see if that's still the case or whether we're going to have a zephyr of breeze to manage to continue making progress towards Svalbard, because I really don't want to have to motor for 200 miles, which was possibly hinted at in the last forecast. Now it's dropped down below 6 degrees. We're keeping the washboards in and the hatch shut. Try and keep it a little bit warmer for the person down below, although you don't need that much warmth when you're under a pile of duvets. We could put the heater on if we really wanted to, but we're just trying to keep the hatch shut, keep it a little bit warmer down below. Yeah, makes it a little bit quieter. You haven't got the person rattling around in the cockpit, making quite as much noise. Breeze is dropping off, so to shake out a reef in the main, then we'll be under full sail again. Well, here we are, it's the morning of day 4, and the weather forecast has proved to be scarily accurate, almost to the hour. It said we would run out of wind here, and sure enough, we are running out of wind. Just downloaded the latest forecast using the Iridium Go, and it looks like we might have a faint zephyr of breeze today, but then tomorrow it absolutely goes down to flat calm, absolutely zero, no chance of sailing. And we still got 200 miles to go to Longyearbyen in Svalbard. So we just made a decision that we're going to alter course to Hornsund, which is where there is an anchorage further south on Svalbard, about 100 miles closer than Longyearbyen itself. And we won't be able to go ashore there because we haven't arrived in Longyearbyen to pick up a gun for polar bear protection. But it looks like there's a nice anchorage there, and we should be able to get there with a bit of motoring, hopefully a little bit of sailing in this very light wind, and wait there until some more wind appears in a few days to sail on the last little bit to Longyearbyen. Because we really don't want to motor 200 miles non-stop if we don't have to. At least the sea stays calm, so when there is a tiny bit of breeze we can just about sail, but looking out here, I think we're going to be doing a fair amount of motoring. Oh well, at least running the engine will give us some hot water for doing the washing up. Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
There we go, sailing at 4.1 knots in 7 knots of wind. On a very gentle sea. Much better than the sound of the engine.
I've not had the energy to pick up a camera for the last couple of days. I quite often find that the first 3 days on passage, I feel pretty rough. This time I had a pretty bad headache, which is possibly brought on by the lack of sleep. But normally by the time day 3 comes around, I'm feeling really good. My body's got used to the motion on board, and yeah, I feel like I could kind of go on for forever. And today is day 3, so yeah, feeling really good. I go from it being a struggle just to get through my watches and like general functioning on board, like cooking, to just feeling really happy to be out here and full of energy. So yeah, it's strange how it normally works like this, but it's normally a 3-day cycle, which is why shorter passages are not normally that enjoyable. But yeah, it's nice to be able to have a bit more of sailing ahead of us before we reach Svalbard, and to end this passage on a high. We don't really see anything of each other for the first 3 days on passage either. We're normally just switching between watches and both trying to get as much rest as possible, which is quite difficult when the boat's bouncing around. But yeah, it's always really nice at this stage in the passage because we're both feeling like we've got more energy and we see a bit more of each other, and both on deck at the same time, which is nice. We've been leaving the companionway hatch open so it's easier to get down below and get back out onto deck, which obviously means that it's a similar temperature down below to what it is out here on deck.
And in a fridge.
Yeah, so it means the boat's pretty much like a fridge. So all of the fruit is really cold. How's your orange?
It's delicious, but it is very cold.
Yeah. And you know what happens to bananas if you put them in the fridge? They're all going black. Before we left, I put a loads of easy to cook, easy to eat foods in a cupboard that's easy to access to make life a bit easier cooking. But today it's so calm, I don't need any of this stuff. So we're going to have a mushroom omelette with salad, and we might even try eating it off a plate. That'll be a first.
Oh. Danger, danger.
Danger, danger. See if you can keep your food on the plate. In there. Is it cosy?
It is.
How many layers have you got?
Got 3 pairs of trousers on and 2 jumpers, and it's lovely and warm.
And a double duvet and a sleeping bag on top of you.
Yeah, it's lovely. In fact, actually, it is a little bit too warm at times.
You look snug as a bug in a rug.
I am snug as a bug in a rug, and it's nice that I can just hear the water flowing along Florence's hull, and I know we're making a nice, gentle, good speed towards Svalbard.
And also hats double as an awesome eye mask.
Yeah.
Have you taken your hat off all passage?
Yeah, and I regretted it and put it back on again. It's very cold without a hat. I don't have all the hair you've got.
Sleeting.
Yeah, not only is it raining, it's sleeting, and you've got the spinnaker up and the wind shifted 50 degrees. So now we've got to go and get down a wet, soggy, icy spinnaker. I'm not sure where we're going to put it, because normally we keep the spinnaker dry. So I think it's going to have to go in the cockpit locker. But yeah, unfortunately, Amy, I'm afraid you have to get dressed and come and help me on deck for this. And it's going to be cold and wet.
We had just started our night watches, so I have to get dressed again. So as soon as I finish getting my boots on, of course, the wind switches back and we don't need to drop the kite. So we're going to leave it up to try and dry it. So yeah, the question is, do I go to bed like this, ready for when we do drop it, or get undressed again?
Next time we make landfall in the icy land of Svalbard.
Wow! Oh, it's gorgeous!
That is spectacular, isn't it?
So
The cloud has just cleared and the sun has just given it some light.
For extra updates in between these bi-weekly videos, and to find out what we're up to in real time, head over to Patreon and join the crew.
Continuing our voyage on Florence would not be possible without the support of our patrons. Thank you to all of you, and especially to our star patrons.
This is just mind-blowingly beautiful. I have to admit, when we were in Norway, we were both thinking, it's so amazing and beautiful here. Like, what are we doing, sailing to Svalbard? Is this really the right thing? But just today, I mean, we've not even been here a full day, and it's already worth it.